Proszę Państwa, przed nami ostatnia część konferencji. Ja wiem, że mieliśmy duży pakiet ciekawych informacji. Teraz mam nadzieję, że jeszcze przyspieszymy. Przez najbliższą godzinę będziemy mieli okazję posłuchać i również uczestniczyć, czy współuczestniczyć, współtworzyć sesję warsztatową. Naszym gościem jest Mikko Markkanen, który prowadzi w Finlandii firmę Business Arena. Firma ta od kilkunastu już lat zorganizowała kilkaset różnych inicjatyw, które generalnie związane są z tematem dzisiejszej konferencji, czyli budowaniem warunków do współpracy nauki i biznesu. To wszystko odbywa się w warunkach fińskich, zgoła odmiennych niż w Polsce. Ja myślę, że też będzie okazja zapoznać się, w jaki sposób w tamtych warunkach pracuje się z naukowcami. Dzisiaj będziemy mieli taki mały case pewnie u nas. Mikko pewnie doda parę słów jeszcze od siebie, nie chcę mu tego czasu zabierać. Liczę na aktywny udział Państwa w warsztatach. W materiałach, które Państwo macie, sorry Mikko, one minute. W tych materiałach, które Państwo dostaliście, jest kolorowa kartka i mam nadzieję, że każdy tą kartkę ma. Jeżeli ktoś nie ma, to sprawdźcie i podniesie rękę, to zaraz Państwu dostarczymy. Pan profesor. Jeżeli każdy ma, to ok. Zaraz ją dostarczymy. Ta kartka będzie nam potrzebna. Mikko powie, co z tą kartką zrobić za jakiś czas. Oddaję Mikkowi już głos i ruszamy z warsztatem. Bardzo dziękuję.
Okay. Oh, this was loud. Thank you for presenting me. I really first I would like to say thank you for the previous presenters in this conference. You covered much of the materials that I was also going to tell, so now I can squeeze in my kind of presentation and concentrate on working with you guys. I promise that since we've now heard a lot of stories about the innovation strategies and innovation systems and all that kind of things, I promise that we will go really into practical level. Kind of really in personal level with you during the next hour. And just a few words about myself. I was born in '77. I've been an entrepreneur for 17 years, so basically all my adult time. And I actually started my first company when I was still doing my military service. And as a punishment, I had to be the junior officer in charge of the garrison for a weekend, and rest of everybody else got a weekend off. And I decided to use the weekend by myself in the big barracks to plan my first business plan, or write my first business plan, and establish my first company. So it was time well spent. During the 17 years, I've been involved in half a dozen companies. I'm going to talk about mostly about my experiences in business arena, but I mentioned just one other company. We've been running a private business incubator or a business accelerator for 10 years now in Finland. Now they are coming more popular in Finland, privately owned business incubators, but they weren't really that common 10 years ago. I have to say that I probably am the least academically achieved person in this room at the moment, because I'm only a Bachelor of Business and Administration. Any other bachelors here? Nope. Yes. So that's my advantage. I look at the world through viewpoint of an entrepreneur and a business person. Most of our customers who we are doing projects with, they are actually from Finnish university field. So roughly half of Finnish universities are using our services and our customers, and also most of the Finnish regional development agencies and stuff like that. So the world of universities is really common to me, and I know the field very well. These are the services that we are doing in Finland. So we are helping universities how to connect with businesses in many forms and many ways, but that's kind of the essence of our business. And as a person also, I do have since I'm not very academic and not very patient, I do have a kind of a tendency to go really quickly into doing things, to go into action. And I also have a kind of low tolerance on things that I see that they can be done better, and if no one bothers to do it better, then I'm kind of I can't stand that kind of situation. So I want to fix things really quickly. And thank you for who was the gentleman who fixed the problem with the plates on the lunch just a few moments ago. There you are. Yeah, that was a good fix, quick fix. Okay, but that was a few words about myself. I noticed that during the day we haven't had that much time to, there have been few breaks, we've been able to discuss with each other, but probably you are now sitting with someone who you know, or at least some of your friends or something like that, colleagues. And the title was How to Build Cooperation with Business Life. How to build cooperation with business life. So one thing first is to get to know people. So you have 3 minutes time, and stand up and search a person who you don't know, someone who you don't know at all, and just greet him and say hi and introduce yourself to the other person. Maybe change a few words that who you are, what field of business or science you are doing, and why are you here. So 3 minutes. Find a person who you don't know. Stand up. Hi.
Hi, Mikko.
Nice to meet you. Hello. Okay, 3 minutes is gone. And now no one wants to stop talking. That's always what happens. Okay. So, if I may, this is what I'm going to talk to you. So, how to build cooperation, and I'm gonna first, really shortly, I'm gonna give a few points based on my own experience in Finland, and also based on the HIPPO study that was made a few years ago, Europe-wide study about university business collaboration. Then I will tell a few easy ways to build cooperation, and then it's not going to be on the end, but on the middle of all these stories, we're going to do a few small exercises. So that's the basic outline of the presentation. I'm going to base my things and stories on this HIPPO study, and it was an EU-level study made to more than 6,000 academics and universities in Europe, and it measured the collaboration between universities and businesses. And there have been such studies probably earlier, but why I liked this study was that it kind of goes into it doesn't only explain the kind of the organizations who are playing with each other and kind of the normal structures of a region, but in this model I think they pretty nicely they go into even to the psychological level and somehow into the motivational factors that enable or drive or be the barriers between academics and business life. So in a way, that's why I like this model. That it explains a little bit deeper what's going on. And when the study was talking about university business collaboration, it meant all these 8 different types of cooperation. So maybe the one that's been talked today mostly is the number 4, the commercialization of R&D results. But notice that there are other ways. I will not go really deeply into this. There was a European study level, and then there were country reports. If you Google HIPPO study, you will find these. This is the kind of the total extent of cooperation per country in Europe. And Poland is here. Finland is number 5, I think. But The point is not who is, behind or above which country. The point is in the study that everybody is doing pretty lousy. Even the top ones, there's nothing to celebrate if you are best of the worst or best of the not so good ones. I think even today there have been a few. There's been a debate on what is the basic function of a university, and of course it has been and it is still the education of people, and then the basic research and doing science. And I don't know who was the presenter who mentioned that there is a kind of a contradiction that how to put the kind of the benefits to business life and the collaboration with businesses into this picture of the old basic basic functions of university. Maybe few points from both Finnish side and from Polish side that what is not so working not so well. The one in the Polish country report, the relationships or the commercialization of R&D results and the collaboration in R&D were the least developed forms of collaboration. But on the other hand, so they were in almost any other EU country also. So this is something that we are missing in all around Europe. And even in Finland, we did a country report from Finland, and then last spring we did a kind of regional study on the same. We used the same model, and we did a regional study on in our own home region, that what is the collaboration between businesses and universities. And what we noticed that there was a lot of, this is the newspaper article about the study, or and from last spring, and the main point was that it's actually really not noticeable, and it's not supported by the university top management, and most of the companies had never done anything with the universities, with any university. So 55% of the companies in our region had never done anything with any university, not even having an intern from a university. So not to talk even about heavier stuff like collaboration in R&D, or commercializing some of the results or transferring technology. So I see that there's a huge potential. Most of the companies haven't done anything ever, and the things that are working are the companies told that okay, we get a reasonably good employment or employees from university, but that's about it. So there was a lot to develop. What we found out also was that the students were the biggest group of kind of people who opened doors between university and the business life. So not the managers, not R&D specialists, not professors, not scientists, but really the younger people in the university, the master degree students. And one thing that we noticed maybe alarming was that the reason why university staff members don't really do business collaboration or business cooperation is that there's no benefits. They don't get anything out of it, or almost anything. They don't, they are mostly evaluated by making scientific papers and citations, but they don't get any points or any credits, any kind of status in their working community by doing business cooperation. And that was one of the biggest barriers on why there isn't so much collaboration. So I think some of these issues were covered in the previous presentations also, that there's a certain kind of political will to use university as the innovation machine of all the regions and EU, but still it kind of lacks the real power in the grassroots level. Okay. I would like to now, because I really want to keep these short, what I'm going to talk to you, I would really like to hear from you guys. because we haven't heard anything from you during the whole day. That what do you think? What are the biggest barriers and drivers for you to personally to do more collaboration with businesses? And I want to do it so, because if I ask you now, no one probably will answer. I will give you 7.5 minutes and make groups so that groups of 3 or 4 persons, and so that you can choose person from the other row. So you can, turn around and make groups of 3 or 4 persons, and 7-minute discussion about what do you think personally. What are the biggest drivers or biggest barriers for you not to do, to do cooperation with businesses? Okay? Yeah. Okay, 70 minutes are gone. These are really short discussions. What kind of things? What do you consider? What are your biggest drivers or biggest barriers on doing business cooperation? Who wants to share your ideas? Or you are not presenting your personal ones, but rather from the group. But anyway, what would you like to tell? Who wants to open up?
There was a very active group here.
Yeah.
Maybe someone from the...
Please, there are no correct... Yeah. What do you think?
We absolutely have no idea.
Absolutely. Are you doing a lot of cooperation with businesses?
It's simple.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, here you go.
Hi, I have one.
Okay.
The biggest driver. I would like to change the world, and with a change, you need money.
That's true. That's a good one because, the story that we heard today about the nuclear power plant story. Yeah, I think that was and I noticed I notice a lot of similar stories when I'm working with scientists that they actually don't want to be entrepreneurs. They want to save the world, but they need money to do it. So that's a good one. Anyone else? Drivers or barriers? There. Wait.
We had 2.
Okay.
Roughly speaking, this is the procedures. Even if you want to buy something, you have to fill out a lot of formulas. We even don't know if you would like to cooperate with business to write some agreement and so on. Who could sign that this is okay? And the second one.
So that was a barrier.
Barrier.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, this was.
Yeah.
So let's start with barriers. And the second one, it was, not so many customers for some specialized solutions and high tech, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm working in the aviation industry, and in this area it's really difficult to.
Yeah, it's a niche market, so yeah. Okay, so the gap between the market and your research is a bigger one. Okay.
Okay, so we kind of have a set of barriers that I could sum up just kind of like attitude. So basically we either don't believe that our research are significant enough, or we are afraid of the risk. So the kind of barrier is the barrier that we put on ourselves in our minds.
Between your ears.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good one. Gentleman from the front row.
Yes, I will give you some drivers and some barriers. In drivers, I think I prefer doing something new with practical application. And also maybe to create the chance to help other people. In barriers, I see the weak understanding each other. We have different languages. And also bureaucratic procedure in Poland.
Okay. So weak understanding of the markets, or not finding common language with companies, bureaucracy. Okay. Something else. Is there any? Okay.
So I think that we don't have the experience how to cooperate with the business, and there's no one else to show us how to do this.
Okay. That's true, that if you haven't you know, when I started as an entrepreneur, I didn't know anything. I had more enthusiasm than, you know, sense or knowledge. So it was only learning by doing. I had to start from something and start just doing it. And then I noticed that, okay, what I actually am good at doing. Okay.
I live almost 30 years in the States, you know, so but how we approach business, I'm in academia for long enough. We ask our students or ourselves to do homework on the business we are targeting, and we are coming with the value proposition. We see you have the problem, or sometimes there is an emerging opportunity somewhere in different part of the world or different states, and well, we have the proposition for you to take advantage of the opportunity. So are either problem solving or taking advantage of emerging opportunity. This is how we approach, and it works pretty well.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about barriers, you know.
Okay,
Focus
okay.
on the positive side.
But when I worked with, you know, I don't know, at least thousands of university researchers and teachers and students, these are pretty common, what you said. There's a lot of bureaucracy. You don't actually know how to do it, how to operate. You are kind of, in Finland, there's a lot of people being afraid of making a mistake. What if they, you know, can't deliver what the company really wants? And there's the attitude thing. You know, some people I've met scientists who are really doing a, you know, world-class science, and still they are. I've been researching this thing for only 10 years, and it's not like really, you know, final. I might need another 5 or 10 years to finalize it. And I'm almost yelling there, that, come on, this is groundbreaking, that someone wants to buy it immediately. Go out, sell it. And but you know, there's a different mentality. Research basic or normal scientist wants to make it, you know, perfect. Or at least in Finland this is the case, that they always want to make it perfect, and they are afraid of kind of letting loose and getting feedback from the outside world that is it really good or not. And then there's the lack of experience, and that's when I'm going to the issues on how to do it. Sorry, I'm moving a lot, maybe making your life a little bit hard. How to build cooperation with businesses. Let's start with the experience, and really baby steps. Do you know what that is? A phone. Because my daughter didn't, you know, when she saw that kind of phone, she was like, what? That's not phone, it's a shower. Because this is phone. Where's my phone? This is phone, not that. Anyway, how many of you have a phone at your pocket? Raise your hands. Okay, everybody has a phone, right. Who has used it to call someone in the past year? Almost everyone, good. How many of you have called to a company representative during the last year? Ooh. That doesn't count. It's too easy. No. So not that many. Who has called to a company representative during the last month? Yes, still few. This week? 2. This is the problem. You just need to call more companies. We did an exercise with teachers in one university. I don't know, do you call them teachers? But anyway, university teachers. And lecturers, yeah, that's the word. And we made an assignment with them that, okay, right now everybody has a phone in their pocket. If you don't, I will lend you one. But call a company, any company, right now, and just ask them, where is your business going? Where do you think you need, you know, help in the next 3 years? And oh my God, they were afraid. They were so afraid of, you know, doing the assignment that they were really, you know, trying to get into the mood of calling to a real life company. Okay, then they did it. They came back half an hour later, and they were so relieved that, oh yes, we did it. And they didn't eat us alive. They didn't, kill us through the phone. And they were actually quite happy that we called them. That someone from the university called to the company, because that never happens. So the companies were really happy. And they were relieved, and there was a lot of enthusiasm that yes, we set a meeting next week. Maybe we can talk more about how we can help them. But then after lunch in the afternoon, I noticed that some of the people, they were really kind of afraid what's the word? Like worried, yeah. And I asked them that, what is wrong? Why are you worried? And they said that, what if all of them want to do something with us? And I said that, don't worry, that never happens. If every one of you can, sell a cooperation project with a company, I will hire you as our salespersons at the very moment, because it's 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 contacts that will lead to anything concrete. So remember that. Call to people. Who can do most of the connections? Well, this is the typical kind of pyramid of people in university. There's top management, about 100,000 lectures, and 10,000 students. Let's see, where is the biggest potential of making contacts? Yeah, maybe it's on the student side. If half of them will call a company once a year, it will be 5,000 company connections. So that's why I think that everybody should be involved in this kind of operations. Everybody can represent university. What's my time? Okay. Then one simple thing. This is a little bit complicated picture, but it's just an example of because at least in Finland, every master student has to make an internship. It's obligatory to make an internship during your studies. And it's normally done so that the focus is on the kind of this typical path. It's on the kind of learning results. And do they make the internship according to the rules? Did they learn something? And can we write the, what are those study credits to the person? But actually no one gets kind of any attention to the fact that, okay, the student is really in maybe one month or 2 months working inside a company. Maybe he or she finds out something that some other future kind of development needs, some business development needs that could be solved by not an internship or a small project, but maybe even a joint research project. And this simple thing just doesn't exist, at least in Finland. That actually the material that you gather from simple things, simple projects, even master's thesis or something like that, done to companies. But the knowledge is never gathered that, okay, what kind of signals do we get from the companies through those works? Do you understand what I mean? Do you get it? Yeah. And so that the end of every small project or internship or a master's thesis, there should be like a simple question. What would you like to do with us next? What's the next step? How can we increase this cooperation that we already have now? It's a small thing, but then what can we do next? What is the next small thing? And those can be grown into bigger and really kind of projects with large impact and large money. And these are, yeah, okay. Let's go to the next one. One thing that we've noticed on how to build cooperation, we've started, just inviting students and lecturers and scientists and companies into these kind of small events. We call them the data talent, is roughly the translation for these events. And okay, it's rather easy to get people to participate to the event. You just need to call 100 persons. Again, call, you can email also, but you need to call someone also. But the thing is that someone mentioned on the barriers that the university and then the business life don't speak the same language. Someone here was, yeah. And that is true. And we've noticed that during the years that it's really hard to, get to the same language and the same kind of issues and start formulating the future cooperation. For example, there's a company representative telling that what kind of development needs they have. And then there are teachers and students around there. But we really need to help them, a lot, that they are able to formulate a common project. This is some skill that needs to be trained inside the university on how to formulate projects, how to use all the resources that are already inside the company, but also what can be used from the university side. It's not always an EU project or a research. You don't always have to apply for a big research grant. It can be gathered from really small pieces, the whole project. But so what we learned is that formulating projects is really hard, and it's you almost always, when you do it right, you might even need these kind of specialists inside the university, kind of innovation brokers or something like that are really doing this kind of project formulation. I don't know if you have that kind of professionals. Maybe. No. Okay. I will skip to this one. Now in my own hometown there's an initiative now between the students' union or different student unions. Do you call them that way? I mean, yeah, and some other privately owned associations and companies that they really want to start operating these kind of matchmaking events in a large scale. So it's funny that it's not even anymore the university who is responsible of organizing these matchmaking events, but the students and the researchers themselves want to kind of step up and take the responsibility. And they kind of create a marketplace for all the people to meet each other. And the thing is that in these matchmaking operations, they are almost always kind of multidisciplinary, multi-science approaches, so that they are not people from a certain field of business and then kind of the same field of science, but they always tend to take the issues so that they have people from several different branches or several different faculties. But I think that's the case name is, I don't know yet, because it's next week that they're going to decide what's the name of the network or the kind of the cooperation. But anyway, that's the initiative now in my hometown. So I think that anyone can take the responsibility of matching students, teachers and researchers and companies. And then you need to call. Then one thing about the when you step forward to the kind of to the hard issues, to the technology transfer and science to business process, there was talk that in Finland they started forming technology transfer offices inside universities about 7, 8 years ago. Most of them started their operations, and there was a lot of funding to technology transfer, but there was no much of a movement. I mean, in my hometown, the numbers were so that every scientist, if they made one invention disclosure once in 200 years, then that was kind of the rate of innovations, once per 200 years. So everybody can imagine that maybe not all of the scientists really made it to the 200th year of being a scientist. So having a technology transfer office is not enough. You need a kind of early stage idea flow. And what we did in Jyväskylä was this kind of picture. Normally, the technology transfer office or that kind of service is focused on this kind of the right side of the picture. So really starting from the point when there has been someone has identified that this is a good idea or a good invention, and then you get support from the technology transfer office to commercialize it. But what we found out that you actually need a lot of activation here first, so that people will actually bring their ideas forward. And in Jyväskylä, we did this kind of operation. There are 3,500 members of the faculty in 2 universities in our region. And we started meeting them with coffee and donuts. So we met almost 2,000 persons a year with coffee and donuts. We went to the laboratories, we went to the lecturers' coffee room, and to basically everywhere where the scientists and lecturers were. And we met them there. And it was always easy to start the conversation by offering coffee and donuts. So that's the power of the donut. Don't underestimate it. And then we started talking that, okay, what is actually what is your field of science? What are you actually have been researching for the last 2 years or 3 years? And we started gathering this information. And from that information, we started organizing idea cafes. So again, interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary, I don't know which one is the right word, but this kind of idea cafes that include people from different faculties. And the topic of the idea cafe could be, what were they, for example, like water usage or problems related to water. And then you might have people from physics, from biology, from ICT, from arts, from all the faculties. And then we got the people talking about what have they researched, what could be kind of the linking points between those different researchers. And then they were more ready to disclose an ideas or maybe a new research project. So, but the volume of involving people to create new ideas and linking the ideas was the thing you might need in order to cooperate. And what it actually ended up having 4 times more idea disclosures and invention disclosures. And those were again, then passed on to companies. So this is again one really practical example on how to build cooperation. Okay. And one thing is that what we noticed is that you need to change the culture, so the mindset between your ears. There is a lot of kind of culture that's maybe commercializing the scientific results. They kind of they take away some of the academic credentials, or they take away the value of the science itself if it's being commercialized. I think that's the main culture in Finland at the moment. But that needs to be changed, and that's what we are doing a lot. And then this is something that you need to remember, that lots of bad ideas need to be brought forward, even so far that you present them to the companies. Not all of them are good, or not all of them are going to be sold, but if you try, many times enough, then something will happen afterwards. And also what we noticed that the companies don't know how to use universities. So you need to teach them also how to work with researchers, how to teach with, work with universities. Okay. Action. Let's have a discussion with some person close to you for a few minutes. If you need to contact a company right now, some company, who would you contact and what would you offer? If you would need to call a company right now, who would you call and what would you offer? Few-minute discussion. Okay. Few minutes are gone. Was it easy to actually recognize the who would you contact and with what kind of story? Was it easy? No? Who thinks it was really easy to say that, okay, this is the one? No one. Sorry? So was it easy to kind of pinpoint the kind of say that, okay, I would like to contact this kind of company and with this kind of offering?
Well, I'm already have some companies, interaction with some companies, but on some projects. So it's always like this, that when you have some idea and there is some company who want to be involved as well in this project, you try to get some fundings. And I think when you get it, you can make your product more developed. But even then, after all, it's hard to find a place on the market, because even if you create the product, you cannot. Maybe I will give some example. We create bulletproof vests based on shell thickening fluid, and on Poland market there are some companies which are selling their bulletproof vests, but they are not They have no interest in selling or creating some new product line for creating that kind of bullet vest with this liquid, because they don't see need of it. They are already doing good, so they don't need to change anything for that moment.
Okay. So, but you just need more market knowledge or bigger markets. Okay. Normally, I would say that if we started doing it as a longer exercise, so that you would connect with people who are not from your own field of science, but from other fields, you would find it maybe more easier to start thinking who could use this your knowledge or your results. So I strongly recommend that you connect with people inside your university or with other universities, but from maybe some other fields of science which are near to your own, but not exactly the same. Or then from the totally opposite side. Maybe one of the most interesting idea cafes during the past 5 years has been when we connected people from the game laboratory and from the music science and then from sports science. And when they started noting actually what they are doing with motion capturing and using that data in training sessions was really close to each other, even though they come to the same kind of issues from a totally different perspective. So I would strongly recommend that you kind of link inside the university. Okay, I have only a few minutes left, or maybe 2 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes. One more exercise. You have the colored paper on the folder, or if you don't have, then use some other paper. Because I really want to come down back to the individual. That I think it's not like the institution or university who is responsible of adding your cooperation with businesses, but it's each and every individual who is responsible of doing it. So write down on the paper that what would you promise to do to increase your own business life connections? What is your personal promise? It can be as simple as I will, call someone tomorrow, or send an email next week to a company or something like that. But what is your personal promise that you will do to increase your business life connections? And then a wish. What would you wish that your university could do to you that would help you to kind of make it easier for you to connect with businesses? Do you understand? Okay. One promise and one wish. And write it down on the paper. You have 1 minute. Okay. And ladies can manage the multitasking, but guys will be in trouble because after you have written the promise and the wish to the paper, start making a plane out of it. If you don't know how to make a paper plane, then there's instructions. And this is and also this is very hard for engineers, I understand, but sorry. So write down the wish and the promise and make a plane out of the paper. Now all the engineers are really in what? And those who are ready can stand up. So then we know eventually when we are all ready. So when you are ready writing down and then making the plane, stand up. If you are ready. Are you an engineer? Aha. Well. Aha. That's even worse. You have to improvise, maybe. Oh, not yet, not yet. When you are ready, stand up. With the plane. Okay, some are in trouble of making the plane. You know, okay, you asked advice, that's good. Okay, still few more are doing the planes quickly. Okay, what is happening next is that we will collect all these personal promises and also, kind of make a wish list for the university administration or whoever can decide these things. But so that it's easier for us to collect them, we will do it so that I will ask you all, stand up with the planes and just throw them here in the beginning. And I will, no, stop, yep. I will count to 3 because it just looks nice when you see a lot of airplanes. So on count of 3, we will throw them here. Okay. Yeah, on 4. So after 3, so on 4. Yeah, good point. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, throw. Cool. Yes. So now we have about 300 promises and 300 wishes for the university on how to increase the cooperation with businesses. I don't know, I couldn't go any more concrete. This was the best I could do in 45 minutes. I hope I didn't get too complicated. If someone wants, there are some short articles or short stories from our projects from the last few years. We made this book in one evening and one night, just writing some of our experiences. You are feel free to take one. One is going to the what was the thing? Anyway, biology. Hey, thank you. This was my practical approach.
Thank you, Mikko, very much. As I said, it was a very practical session. I think that we have promises that we'll collect and write down.
We'll start soon.
Try to transfer to you just after conference. Proszę Państwa, obiecałem, że oddam mikrofon na chwilę panu Krzysztofowi Cywińskiemu. Kończymy już konferencję. Czas na podsumowania. Oczywiście wiedza, którą Państwu przekazaliśmy, to jedno. Państwo jesteście również uczestnikami projektu i myślę, że warto te ostatnie 5 minut poświęcić na takie podsumowanie w jaki sposób ten projekt Państwu może pomóc, czy już pomaga. Najpierw Pan Krzysztof, ja również w imieniu organizatora na koniec mam do przekazania kilka informacji. Bardzo proszę.
Dziękuję bardzo. 5 minut na podsumowanie projektu, między innymi naszych warsztatów szkoleniowych. Mowy nie ma, będę mówił o czymś zupełnie innym. Na początku tylko wyjaśnijmy sobie. Pewnie wryłem się niektórym w pamięć, bo wyrwałem wam 6 godzin z życia po to, żeby tłumaczyć aspekty prawne, ekonomiczne, księgowe, podatkowe i tłumaczyć realia biznesu. Być może dla niektórych jest to jakieś nawet doświadczenie traumatyczne, a wiem to, bo czytałem wasze ankiety. W każdym razie powiem tak, Niko zadał tutaj szereg pytań. Chciałbym, żeby od razu przy tej okazji, za 5 minut, żeby na wiele z tych pytań odpowiedź była znana. Otóż w moim życiu ten projekt też zmienił wiele, ponieważ kiedy podsumowałem i zastanawiałem się nad tym, co robię w życiu, a jestem pośrednikiem, powiedziałbym, między kapitałem a przedsiębiorcami, równie dobrze mogą to być naukowcy. W związku z tym nie ukrywam, że na tej sali wręcz doprecyzowała się pewna wizja konstrukcji biznesowej, z której być może byście zechcieli skorzystać. Jeżeli Niko pyta się, do kogo zadzwonicie, co zaoferujecie, to jeżeli macie napisać na strzałce, na rakietce, jakie są wasze życzenia, to być może odpowiedzią na to pytanie będzie coś takiego. Zadzwońcie do Krzysztofa. Zadzwońcie do Krzysztofa. O co mi chodzi? Pamiętacie ministra, który odgrażał się kiedyś kibicom, prawda? Idziemy po was, idziemy po was. Powiem tak, jako przedsiębiorca, jako człowiek z krwi i kości powiązany z biznesem, to, że prawnik, który tłumaczył wam aspekty prawne, to, że finansista, czyli były bankowiec, który odkrył przed wami niuanse pozyskiwania kapitału, to, że księgowy z zamiłowania, mam nadzieję, że nikomu się nie śniła się w nocy kreatywna księgowość. Swoją drogą od 10 sierpnia mamy uwolniony zawód księgowego, tak jak mówiłem. I wreszcie ten aspekt realiów biznesu. Mówiłem o biznesie jako krwawym i brutalnym sporcie. Wiem, że dla wielu z was biznes to ciemny, gęsty las, z którego dochodzi wycie dzikich zwierząt. Chciałem powiedzieć tak, ja w tym lesie mieszkam, ja rozwijam się tam, rozmnażam i jest to moje naturalne środowisko. Dlatego nie bójcie się biznesu, tylko być może zadzwońcie do Krzysztofa. Mówię o tym dlatego, ponieważ mój numer telefonu wszyscy macie, kontakt mailowy też. Natomiast tak jak wracam do tego ministra, który się odgrażał, że idziemy po was, ja też zamierzam po was przyjść. Nie będę czekał, aż zadzwonicie. Konstrukcja biznesowa, o której myślę, ma poszukiwać naukowców na etapie uczelni. A więc jeżeli wy nie dotrzecie do mnie, to być może ja dotrę do was. A już kończąc na stojąco. Kogo widzę przed sobą? No oczywiście tych najwytrwalszych, prawda? Zawsze w biznesie też jest dokładnie tak. Do końca dotrwają ci właśnie najbardziej wytrwali, najbardziej zdeterminowani, no ewentualnie ci, którzy mają najpóźniej pociągi, prawda? No ale to już inna sprawa. W każdym razie powiem tak, wielu z was powierzyło mi swoje najskrytsze tajemnice i marzenia biznesowe. Mówię tutaj o spotkaniach indywidualnych, gdzie podpisywaliśmy klauzulę poufności, że to zostanie między nami. Kogo widzę na sali? No mam nadzieję, że widzę potencjalnych, zamożnych ludzi, którzy swoje bogactwo, dobrobyt, swoje osobiste szczęście zbudowali na fundamencie nauki w ten sposób, że potrafili to skomercjalizować. I w tym bardzo chciałbym wam pomóc. Tyle ode mnie. Dziękuję.
Bardzo dziękujemy. Jak widać, proszę Państwa, mieliście wiele okazji, żeby spotkać ciekawych ludzi, nawet poznać siebie między sobą. Każda okazja generuje możliwości i myślę, że powinniście na tą myśl trzymać blisko siebie. Ja jeszcze dodam, że dzwońcie do Miko, bo Miko możliwe, że wam załatwi biznes w Finlandii. I każdy z was wie, że ma również inne kontakty, do których można zadzwonić. Proszę Państwa, kończąc tą konferencję, która w moim rozumieniu jest ogromnym sukcesem i wynikające z tego, że mieliśmy wspaniałe osobistości, bardzo ciekawe tematy, że sala z taką cierpliwością zareagowała na problemy techniczne, zareagowała na nasze treści, co pokazuje dzisiejsza frekwencja. Kończąc tą konferencję, chciałem po pierwsze podziękować za Państwa zaangażowanie na każdym etapie realizacji tego projektu. Urząd Marszałkowski jest świadom tego, że te pieniądze wydane na Państwa badania, na wsparcie towarzyszące, na konferencje, na doradztwo, że ono będzie owocowało sukcesem rynkowym. To jest główna retoryka tej konferencji. Cieszymy się, że wśród Was są osoby, które oprócz tych wątków biznesowych, naukowych widzą też wątki społeczne, bo część z Państwa zaangażowała w swoje prace badawcze również młodych, ambitnych uczniów z mazowieckich szkół. Może nie jest to jakaś duża akcja, ale dziękujemy za to, bo to jest też inny wymiar naszej działalności, o którym powiedział Pan profesor Ratajczak, że społeczeństwo kreuje rzeczywistość i takie Państwa zachowania też są bardzo, bardzo cenne. Ze strony technicznej cała ta konferencja została nagrana i będzie udostępniona Państwu na Państwa portalu, co myślę, że jest wartością dodaną tego przedsięwzięcia. Na tym samym portalu znajdą się dla Państwa informacje wynikające z aktywności w projekcie, czyli ankieta ewaluacyjna, na którą urząd prosi, żebyście szybko odpowiedzieli. I bądźcie aktywni. Ten portal, to co zostało dla Państwa stworzone, to nie powinno zniknąć w ślad za zakończeniem tego projektu. Państwo i tak do 2016 roku będziecie w kontakcie bardziej formalnym z urzędem, natomiast ja namawiam, żeby ten kontakt miał też wymiar merytoryczny, żeby miał wymiar praktyczny i korzystajcie z tego, bo taka okazja może się już nie nadarzyć. Wprawdzie nowe środki finansowe się zbliżają, ale nie wiadomo, czy będziemy mieli szansę, żeby wrócić z taką samą konferencją, z takim samym tematem, w takim samym składzie do Państwa. Bardzo dziękuję za udział, bardzo dziękuję prelegentom, profesorom, wszystkim przedsiębiorcom, którzy tutaj nam pomagali. I mam nadzieję, że po tej konferencji długo zostanie Państwu w pamięci ta treść, retoryka bardzo ważna i będziecie potrafili to zaadoptować do swojej pracy naukowej. Jeszcze raz bardzo dziękuję, no i uważamy konferencję za zakończoną.
Proszę Państwa, ja myślę, że jako jeden z uczestników tej konferencji chciałbym w naszym imieniu, przynajmniej tych, którzy prezentowali pewne treści, podziękować panu doktorowi Michałowi Klepce, ponieważ proszę mi wierzyć, przygotowanie tej konferencji było długotrwałe. No jak widać skończyło się sukcesem. Dziękuję bardzo.